Hello friends, and welcome back to my new video. In this video, as one of my subscriber has requested me to upload a video on how to manage time on maths for class 10 during exam hours. So without wasting any time, let me just go straight. Normally in all the exams we get 3 hours of time, so 3 hours equals to 180 minutes. Now what you have to do is, the first step that you have to do is you just go through the questions, okay, and you tick those questions that you are very much well equipped. The questions that you know very well, okay, tick those questions that you know very well. Then once done reading or going through the questions, you start your answers, okay. Do not waste any time, and you start doing those questions that you know very well. Then make sure that you don't spend much time in solving those questions, okay. Make the least time, okay, the minimum time for all those questions, so that at the end you have sufficient time to solve for the other questions, or maybe you get sufficient time to think over those questions that you have some doubts, some confusion, some complicated calculations, or some steps that you missed out. You have sufficient time for those things to again redo it, okay. So once you are done with those questions, the next step is for those questions that you are not clear with, you have some confusions, okay. Now in this course of time, sometimes you might face some problem, like you forgot a step, or you forgot something, like some steps or some calculation mistakes. You might face that, okay, and you might end up thinking what could be the step, how is the calculation done, okay. If you have to be aware, okay, aware with the time, how much time you're consuming for that particular question or for that particular problem. See the time, and if you're consuming more time for that particular question in thinking what step it could be, what was the mistake that you did, okay, if you're consuming more time, you leave it aside, that question, and immediately go to the next question, okay. Go to the next question, you leave some space, so that you come back later on and then you solve that particular question, okay. So you have to be very cautious and aware of the time, how much time you're consuming for every question. Now according to my suggestion, say for 1 mark type questions, I don't think you will spend 5 minutes for those 1 mark questions. I think for 1 mark questions you may spend only 1 minute, okay. And 2 mark questions, it may spend hardly 3 minutes, and more than 2 marks, you try to spend 5 minutes for every questions, okay. So that way you will have sufficient time at the end. All right. Now normally when you are trying to manage your time, okay, for every question, say for every 1 mark question, you are managing 1 minute, like I just said now. And when you are doing some calculations, make sure that your calculations are correct, okay, and try to follow those steps where you will make the least mistake or least error in calculations, okay. There are some students, I am myself have experienced. Now when we are in a hurry, running after the time, or like time is very short, and then we are just in a hurry trying to complete the whole questions, that time we miss out some of the, like, some sign missing, some calculations are mistakes, okay. So you have to be careful of that also when you are in a hurry, okay. But you also have to keep your mind free of that, okay, tension, anxiety that you have very short time. Do not keep in mind all those things, clear. Then later on, once you are done with all the things, okay, maybe you might end up missing out some steps and all. Forget about those things. Okay, you must have sufficient time at the end for you to revise again the whole questions. Okay, maybe some 30 minutes. Okay, make sure that you have 30 minutes remaining to revise again the whole, from the beginning, the whole problems that you have solved. Okay, and for every question, wherever you have some little confusions, maybe some chances of error, some chances of calculation mistakes and all, you have to be very careful of that. So you have to recalculate. Okay, recalculate those questions, and then you have to revise that way, so that your calculations, the way you have solved, is accurate and it is correct, and you don't miss any negative, you don't miss any mark in those questions. Clear? So that way, I think, I don't know how well I have given you the opinion, but according to my experience, my observing, okay, the way I've observed in my past life, and then to the students and all, I think you have to be very careful, especially, okay, time management. Okay, the second thing is you leave some sufficient time. Okay, you set up like this. In other way, I'll give you some simple tips. Okay, you make it this way: for this many types, okay, for this type of questions, this many minutes. Okay, and while practicing, when you go before the exam, you know for every type of question how many minutes you take. Okay, you see, for long answer, like long problems and all, how many minutes you take. Okay, so accordingly, you just calculate whether in exam 180 minutes will be sufficient for all those 20 to 25 questions or not. Okay, accordingly you have to manage. And for 1 mark questions, this many times I'll take. For 2 marks questions, I will take this many minutes. For 3 marks questions, it will take this many minutes, and for 5 mark questions, it will take this many minutes. Okay, so you just manage and calculate, and then you average it out. Will it be sufficient with 180 minutes in the exam? Okay, and then, but try to make sure that you have sufficient time for you to revise again properly. Okay, recalculating everything. So my opinion, that is my opinion of how to manage time. So I don't know how well, like how accurate it can be, like I don't know how well I have given you, but according to me, this is what I suggest. So I hope it will be a benefit for you, and thank you very much for watching this video. Please do not forget to subscribe, share, and then if you have subscribed, please do not forget to click the bell icon. Thank you.